If you don't look back on work you did last year and cringe just a tiny bit, there's a chance you might have peaked. Now, on the other hand, assuming everything is tech debt just because it's old was a terrible idea. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the difference between tech debt and natural product growth and how learning to differentiate between them can help you grow as an engineer, designer, or product manager. Tech debt is real. It's the accumulation of trading off speed for completeness. We take shortcuts, we leave gaps in our code base, and patch things together. Not because we don't care about it, because we pick done over perfect. There's a flip side though. Work on any project long enough and it's going to look like a rat's nest of ideas. More often than not though, this isn't tech debt. This is just the normal evolution of a project over time. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for a well-designed product. We still need to ensure that what we build is robust and well-suited to users. I'm saying build for the users and the use cases you have today, and not the ones that you think you're going to have tomorrow. Here's an example with some details omitted from a recent discussion we had at work. Now, we're building a software platform for logistics. Big part of logistics is storing the price of things moving from point A to point B. You don't really need to know any more details for this video, other than we need to store the price and 2 locations. These locations may be somewhere extremely specific, like a particular warehouse, or somewhere more broad, like a city or a suburb. Given the problem space, you can imagine the existing code base had a number of ways to represent locations already. The new locations model, it was going to be a good fit for most of these use cases and let us remove duplicate data and logic. At first glance, all those existing pieces of location data and location logic, they look like tech debt. They were parts of the code base that we now needed to clean up and refactor into something new. But they weren't tech debt. At the time they were built, those decisions made sense. They met the needs of the users we had, they got the job done. As the company grew, and thankfully it did, the complexity of the users and their use cases, it increased. And when complexity increases, abstractions and mental models, they need to change and adapt. This is a natural and needed part of growing a new product. We hit the point where our existing model of the world needed to change so that we could still fit it all inside our head, and we made those changes. Yesterday's problems had yesterday's solution, and they thrived with them. Today's problems need today's solutions. Tomorrow's problems, that's a job for tomorrow. Now here, it would have been easy to spend a long time developing the perfect future-proof solution. We have to do a big replacement, we might as well get it right this time. I'm here to tell you that that's almost always the wrong move. It's a lot easier to look backwards with hindsight and see the flaws in your assumptions than it is to correctly predict the assumptions you're going to need in a year. Validate your current assumptions as much as you can, but you're better off spending your time writing today's solution really well than trying to build one that you're never going to need to change again. It's on us as developers and product managers to make sure that we're building what's right for right now. It's easy to get tempted towards building a solution that's going to last forever. We imagine that we know how things are going to need to scale, what users a year from now are going to want, how many of them we're going to have. And let me tell you from experience, it is almost always wrong. Spending time building next year's solution is a waste of time. Now, that's not to say move fast and break everything, but the reality is the systems that you're designing and building today should probably be designed to see a 10 or 100x increase in usage or user growth. Anything beyond that is a bit of a waste of time. The needs and the types of users that you're going to have beyond that are almost impossible to predict. Besides, the world keeps changing around us. Browser versions, operating systems, the hardware that we're building for, it's all constantly changing. It's very hard to get ahead of those changes or predict what they're going to be and build something that's never going to need to be replaced after you've built it. Beyond just saving your time, recognizing what is and isn't tech debt is really important for your team. Making sure that your team knows that change is normal, expected, and a sign that things are going well, that can make a huge difference. Otherwise, you can all get stuck feeling like you're always fixing yesterday's mistakes. Now, yes, tech debt, it happens. It grows in parallel. We take shortcuts. We sometimes have to half-bake solutions to get product out the door. products have deadlines most of the time. And frankly, the products that don't have deadlines, they're almost always products with no users. Fixing the tech debt that we develop along the way, yes, that's a core part of maintenance. But dwelling on the fact that something we wrote 3, 4, 5 years ago no longer fits the mental model because we grew as an organization, that's not tech debt. That's a wonderful and exciting part of building and scaling new product.